kind of hanging out in France for the past couple of days, and just crossed over into Belgium, into the Ardennes forest. It seems like as soon as we crossed the French-Belgian border, it immediately got forested and hilly, and I'm so completely excited about where we're going. I'm a big fan of the history of the 101st Airborne and Easy Company of the Band of Brothers, and today we're going to be going up to the spot where they fought at the Battle of the Bulge outside of Bastogne. So today is going to be fulfilling a long-held dream of mine, to go in and see where these guys actually fought. Can't believe that I'm here. Oh, just made it, and it's a little bit chilly. So we are in between Bastogne and the town of Foy. I think locally they pronounce it Foix. And we are on the southern end of the Jacques, where the men from Easy Company fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And as you can see, they have a memorial set up to these guys. Gosh, cannot believe that I'm here. Okay, so here on the memorial for the men of Easy Company, have the names listed of the men who died here. Some of them, if you watch the TV show Band of Brothers, would probably sound familiar, like Donald Hubler and Muck and Pinkala are listed amongst these others. And right behind the memorial, you can see right back in this area, this is the Jacques. And this is where the men of Easy Company set up a perimeter to help defend Bastogne. So we're going to go over there and take a look around for ourselves. Well, I am in the Jacques, where the men of Easy Company were positioned, holding the line against the Germans that were trying to collapse the perimeter around Bastogne. And this is on the southern end of the Jacques, and my gosh, I know I should have something smart or important to say, but for somebody that's as big of a fan of history, and especially World War II history and the men of Easy Company, to actually be here, I'm actually speechless. This is incredible. And look at this. You can just see these foxholes all over the place. We're gonna go take a look at a few more of them here. Look at here. You can actually see the foxholes that these guys dug out. Here's another one over here. Oh my gosh, how cool is this? Now, it's probably reasonable to assume that over the past 75 years, these have been freshened up and maybe, kind of redug. But this is where they were. There's another one right there. And I don't think that I can come halfway around the world to the Jacques, where Easy Company was stationed, and not actually get in one of the foxholes. So this is the view right here. Whoever occupied this particular foxhole, looking to the east. holding the line. Man, oh man.
Heavy are the eyelids that hold the world in their flutter, the world in their flutter. Heavy are the eyelids that hold the world in their flutter.
Incoming! Take cover! Take cover! Take cover! Go on! Find some cover! Find some cover! Find a foxhole! Come on, take cover! Take cover! Come on, find some cover! Take cover! Shit. Come on, find some cover! Find some cover!
For some reason at that moment in that half-finished foxhole, all I could think about was the 4th of July when I was a kid. I loved to make my own firecrackers, cherry bombs, ladyfingers. I loved to blow up dirt clouds and pop bottles and the like. Looked forward to it all year long. What I saw that day was the most awesome and terrifying display of firepower I'd ever seen in my life.
Okay, now, a lot of people that come to the Bois make a few mistakes. If you look behind me,
Bicycle here from Noville. I often heard the noise of the cannons from over there. These past 2 days, it's been calmer in Bastogne.
Into the cellar, Emile! Quick! Into the cellar! Par ici! Venez! Vite! Hey! Come! Quick! À la cave! The cellar! Dépêchez-vous!
Oh, just made it, and it's a little bit chilly. So we are in between Bastogne and the town of Foy. I think locally they pronounce it Foix. And we are on the southern end of the Bois, where the men from Easy Company fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And as you can see, they have a memorial set up to these guys. Gosh, cannot believe that I'm here. Okay, so here on the memorial for the men of Easy Company, have the names listed of the men who died here. Some of them, if you watch the TV show Band of Brothers, would probably sound familiar, like Donald Hubler and Muck and Pinkala are listed amongst these others. And right behind the memorial, you can see right back in this area, this is the Bois. And this is where the men of Easy Company set up a perimeter to help defend. Launched the assault, which you see in episodes 6 and 7 on Band of Brothers. And man, here's a foxhole that's really been dug out. The assault wasn't actually launched from the Bois. The series kind of leads you to believe that they were in the same patch of woods the entire time. They actually moved around, I think 3 different times. If we have time, I may try and go to the spot where they launched the attack on Foix. Now, in this set of woods, Easy Company came under artillery fire on several different occasions. But in the episode where Bill Garnier and Joe Toy both lose their legs, that happened right here in this set of woods. Gosh. Something else. Okay, so as I've already mentioned, whenever you're here in the Bois, there's a road that runs right in front of it. And like I said, this formed the outer perimeter on the eastern side for Easy Company. And on the 2nd of January, they actually moved across in this direction to try and clear out these woods and find out where the German positions were. And if you watch those few episodes of Band of Brothers where they are in Bastogne, this is where Hubler accidentally shoots himself. Now in the series they say it's a Luger that he had picked up from somebody that he shot here in Bastogne. In reality, he had got the pistol in Holland, and it was, I think, a Belgian 32. I could be wrong on that, but it wasn't a Luger. But anyway, it was a pistol that didn't have a safety on it, and he had it in his pocket. And he stood up to shake some of the snow off of his uniform, and something caught on his pocket. Gun went off, and he ended up bleeding out there. Now, over here, it looks like somebody has reconstructed a bit of what the foxhole would have looked like here. Looks like somebody's reconstructed this foxhole with some branches. That's kind of cool because it shows you what it would have looked like. Whoop! I about slipped and fell on that pine cone. Oh my gosh. How embarrassing would it be to come all the way to Bastogne where these men survived and I get taken out by a pine cone? Alright, so this section that I'm in right now, you can kind of see this clearing behind me. This is the area where Dick Winters had set up his command post. So you can read about that both in his book and also in Band of Brothers, and then see it depicted on the TV show. And the part of the TV show where it shows him shaving, you know, they got like 30 below zero out here in the Ardennes forest that winter of '44, and he's still wanted to maintain discipline and wanted to have his troops see him, keeping himself clean, and really was instrumental in helping to hold this line during the Battle of the Bulge. So yeah, somewhere out in here, this is where Winters would have had his command post. Pretty cool.
This is nuts.
It's not logical. The Germans have superiority over us in every way. The war armor is going. That it's not in their interest to stall. They're up to something. But what? All my love.
Dick, the shelling that occurred outside of Foix is depicted both in the book and in the miniseries as being very intense, very deadly, a lot of casualties.
Yes, right.
Worst shelling you witnessed, compared to Normandy, Holland, Bastogne? I mean, it just seemed that way, that the shelling in the woods was pretty bad.
Well, the shelling was, there's a different kind of shelling. In Normandy, the shelling that we're faced with at that point with airborne troops and so forth, and at that early stages, was mostly with 88s. That's direct fire and not indirect fire. Of course we had some mortars, but we didn't have the shelling, the type of shelling that we had, say, in Holland or Bastogne, Because see, in Holland then, as it worked out, we're on the island again here. The Germans are on the north side, and they have the higher ground. And remember, they're not too far from home. So their resupply of ammunition is very good. They're on the high ground. They can see every little movement we make on the south side of the island while we're on the island. And so we're perfect targets for any movements that we make. And the shelling was brutal. And when you live through that, you've lived through the worst. But again, it's a matter of where you happen to be at the time of the shelling. If you're in the center of a crossfire of a concentration, there is nothing worse than that can be imagined. And I don't care where you are. Now you could be down the line a little bit and not be involved in that direct fire that you're under with a concentration. That's one thing. But now at Bastogne, there again we're under, when you mentioned Foy here, I consider that Bastogne. So that the artillery were under Bastogne. That was by far the worst that we received as a unit for everybody. Because we were, if you look at that map I just pointed out to you and shared with you here, of the units that had us surrounded at Bastogne, if you look at the map, you can see the units that have us surrounded. You'll see a lot of artillery. And during the demand for our surrender from the Germans, there at Christmas time, part of his, the way he had that demand worded was the fact that surrender or I'll shell you off the earth. In other words, he had the artillery, he felt, to do it. And there were times that we weren't too sure he was right. Because when he concentrated that artillery, such as he did on our area, 2nd Battalion Company, like on the 9th of January, it was brutal. And the picture here, Band of Brothers, speaks for itself. Does a very good job. It does a very good job in having you share the feelings of that time. Look, you live this every day. You live this every day. You have recall, and you don't live the whole thing every day, but there are segments that will pop up every day and any time of the day. And of course you're keeping that to yourself. You're not going around talking about it.
Yeah.
Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. On December 16th, 1944, the Germans launched a very violent offensive in the west. My division had to go back to combat and defend a little town in the Ardennes called Bastogne. After several days of very rough fights, we thought there would be a truce for Christmas Eve, but heavy German bombers were on their way to Bastogne. Junkers 88s dropped 1-ton bombs, causing a lot of casualties among our troops.
The spot that we are standing at right now is the location of the temporary American cemetery right here outside of Bois. Now, the actual temporary cemetery was off to the right. But they have this memorial here, and there's some pretty interesting symbolism that our buddy Reg was telling me about. So if you look right here at this spot, this is symbolic of a world that has been cut in two by war. And then if you go over here, well, you see headstones for both Christian and Jewish service members. And then here it shows a world that has been restored, and that's supposed to catch the wind and spin, but it's a little bit heavy. And then if you look right here, well, you have the American and Belgian flags. It says here lies the site of the Foix American Temporary Cemetery from 1945 to 1948. It served as a temporary resting field for 2,701 Americans killed in the action of the Battle of the Bulge, 16th of December 1944 to the 28th of January 1945. And if you measure from the bottom left corner to the top right, well, it's exactly 2,701 millimeters to basically symbolize the 2,701 Americans who were buried here. And also these trees on either side are nut trees. So from the end of the Battle of the Bulge until 1948, this whole field right here behind me off in the distance was where thousands of Americans were laid to rest. And right next to them, right here, were 6,807 Germans. So this is the Foix-Racogna German military cemetery, and again, as I mentioned, there are 6,807 German soldiers who are laid to rest here. So if we go through and walk this cemetery, well, you can see a lot of the names of men who fought in this area. This was a collection cemetery, so not all of them necessarily fought right here in Bastogne, although a lot of them did. So here is one grave for an unknown soldier, and then another by the name of Michael Brucklochner, and then another unknown soldier. And then if we look at this grave right here, well, you can see there are three names listed on this side. If you look at the one down at the bottom, Heinrich Becker, he was born in 1927, died in 1944. So at 17 years old, this is one of the youngest German soldiers that is buried here in the cemetery.